It is Wednesday. It's time for BRAP. We're back. We got a lot to talk about, believe it or not. Not necessarily a slow news week, but a very interesting one to say the least. Look, I want to thank everyone in the live chat for hanging out with us this evening. I'm going to drop a link here. Please do me a favor, retweet the link or drop the link in whatever your favorite social media platform is, and let everyone know that we are live. Now we have a returning guest. Now, this man is no stranger. He is someone that I've been podcasting with on his show every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Crossfire Show. We got Mooch back in the house. Mooch, what's going on, man?
Buddy, I really appreciate that shameless plug. Thank you. That's outstanding. It's good to be podcasting in the middle of the week, Brap. You know, and a lot of news finally broke. I think everyone's chiming in on this news. It's not necessarily revolutionary news, but it's enough to actually have a discussion about it. We've been sitting around waiting for something to break. So great to be here, buddy. Love the topics. Love the panel. Guys, do tweet it out. Let everybody know that we are here. And yeah, Brap, let's get this show started, buddy.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
The decibels on this show just went up by 15.
What's that?
Facts.
What happened?
I said the decibels on this show just went up by 15.
Oh, yes, this is true. We're going to get a couple.
Easily, for
you might get some yelling. You might get some yelling from.
Just a bit. Just a bit.
Might get a little bit of yelling, but
might get some yelling. We might get some people just leaving the podcast and not saying anything at all.
Who could that be, Slow?
Yeah, what was that you were
Discord?
Oh,
like just like now. He just left it, you know.
Slow-mo. What was it you were discussing before we went live? Something about someone sticking around?
Let me tell a story, right? Okay, so one night playing games. Cat Daddy Alert was playing games. It wasn't we can talk about yesterday. We can talk about all the days.
It was yesterday, day before yesterday.
You don't do what you say you're going to do. But anyway, so we was playing
this is when he was supposed to join us on Fortnite.
Oh,
remember that?
Fortnite. Yeah, remember that, right? Enrique can back me up. Forte has a habit of I'll be there, but he not there ever. He don't show up. And if he do show up, it was like came on Fortnite. I just wanted to see what was in the item store. I'm out. I'm gonna go play Destiny.
That's literally the only reason I logged in to see what was in the item store, and I saw all that Marvel stuff, and I was like, I'm out.
Disgusting. And we were playing multiverses. He's on my team. Okay. He goes AFK as soon as the match starts. I'm fighting by myself.
Oh man!
I was fighting with you, and we won.
You didn't even move. Stop.
Yes, we did. I was playing with Superman, and we won. The second match,
I won.
We won.
You did nothing, Forte, and then you disappeared.
Okay.
And then, like a bunch of like hours later, he sends me a text message.
It was not no bunch of hours later. It was literally 2 minutes later.
It was not 2 minutes later. Stop it.
Okay, sure it was.
Yeah, my Discord stopped working. I had to reboot the whole computer. Why you gotta reboot your whole computer because Discord don't work?
Because I closed out Discord.
Task manager in process.
I closed
Restart
out
Discord. It's that easy.
Listen, don't be mad at me that I came back and you were gone.
Yeah, me and Kat was like, he ain't coming back.
And I
came
know
back.
You. And I came
we know you, and we dipped.
Hey, listen, man, I've been enjoying my vacation away from video games.
Oh, so that's what this is? It's a vacation. News to me is a vacation away from video games.
It was a vacation away from video, because work is video games. You don't understand? You know, I sell games. It's a vacation away from video games.
You know what?
Not the actual playing of video games, but away from video games.
Well, I mean, that's not a shocker. The 95% of this community don't play video games, so it's all good, man.
Oh, that's a spicy accusation, by the way.
He ain't lying.
Accusation?
That's not no accusation. That's
I mean, you do have people holding spaces that act like they play video games that really don't play video games.
Couldn't tell you 3 characters that show up in any of the games they talk about.
Yeah. Who's Kefka?
Bag,
huh?
All of
Who's Kefka?
Freaking dumpster juice trash bags for all of them. Let me.
All right. Well, let me introduce the panel. So that we got let me introduce the panel. We got Slow-Mo Backslap, who's speaking right now. So what's up, Slow-Mo?
What up?
And then we got his partner in crime, DPS Podcast, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. By the way, check Slow-Mo and Forte out tomorrow night. We got Forte. What's up, Forte?
What's up, guys? Shout out to all the 10%ers out there that are playing video games. You guys are amazing and you guys rock. And it's great to be here. And shout out to Mooch for coming through, blessing us with his glory. You know,
Thank you,
there was no Crossfire last week. I was at home because I was off work that day. I was like, I'm gonna jump on Crossfire. Then I looked and I say, oh, there is no Crossfire today.
No, you know what? In all honesty, this is that one weekend in August that I always we go up. We enjoy some of the lakes in New York. You know, we got some great lakes in New York. Not great lakes, but great to be at lakes. It was a good time. And then I spent all Saturday and all Sunday at Citi Field watching the Mets absolutely destroy the Braves. Fantastic sports. Let's not talk sports on the show, though. We'll lose.
Hey, go Mets.
We'll lose people so fast.
Well, listen, there is one state with better lakes, and it's called Michigan.
Oh, yeah. You do.
Nothing but lakes.
I am not taking that away from you, Forte. I am not taking that away from you.
I didn't tell y'all this. So when my wife was out of town, they went to Carousel over in I think the Dominican. They went over there, and one of the waitresses came up to her, was like, "Hey, what island are you from?" And we had an island boy. She said, "What island are you from?" And my wife said, "I'm from the island of Belle Isle." And if anybody lives in Michigan, Belle Isle is literally a park inside of Michigan that's on an island in between. It's in between Canada and Michigan in the Detroit waterline. And she was like, "I'm off of the coast of Canada on this island called Belle Isle." And this lady was like, "Belle Isle, I've never heard of this place before. What is this place you speak of?" So she looks it up on her phone, and she shows her this picture of this amusement park. And she's like, "Oh my God, you live near an amusement park?" I was like dying, bro. I was like, it's so fun being in other countries because no one takes anything serious. Everybody is like really super laid back. And I think that's the one thing I like about traveling other places, because the things we take so super serious here, nobody does that anywhere else for the most part.
Yeah. All right. And last but not least, we have Game Logic. Game Logic, what's going on, man?
Got a new Xbox.
Yes,
Xbox,
you did get a new
360?
Xbox.
360?
No,
I mean, listen, man. We got people out here making content about Xbox 360 stuff like this. Is it new?
Gotta go retro. Hey, did you see that video with all the old OG Xboxes hooked up playing Halo 2? Some big LAN party out in Las Vegas.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
It's like one of the last time Halos was actually good.
Oh man, come on.
I got a Series X.
Oh, you ditched the S?
I ditched the S earlier this year when I got rid of all my consoles. But
everybody, and Forte, you were on Crossfire when we said this, but you do remember I said as we progress through this generation, everybody will be trading in their S.
Well, yeah, and Microsoft will have a ridiculous sell-through just for the fact that everybody bought S's because that's all they could find at the time.
That's all there was at the time, and as we progress, and this is going to be the year transition as we go into this fall, into next year, and we see that games are more demanding, it doesn't matter what they freed up. Actually, Digital Foundry just did a piece on, even though Xbox said they freed up more RAM or whatever, not enough, not really showing enough power coming out of this thing. That thing is, I'm telling you, 2 or 3 years into this.
That's not what I heard from a certain influencer.
Well, maybe not, but I'm going by Digital Foundry, and they said that they weren't awfully impressed with what was, in air quotes, upgraded or given back to the S.
Just to throw a little salt in here, right? So I'm not in the same, as is normally the case, I'm not in the same end of the pool or bucket as everybody else, right? I got rid of my S along with my PlayStation 5 at the same time because I had some issues and concerns with console gaming at the time. I had no problem. I had no problem.
Issue with console gaming? There's a thing? Are we talking about against PC gaming where, firmware doesn't match up?
I just for various reasons, I was just not satisfied with console gaming at the time. I needed a break and some time away. I spent 9 months or so away and I'm fine. I've decided to make a comeback, right? For reasons of my own. I never had a problem with the performance on the S. I play at 1440p. I have my consoles hooked up to computer monitors. It did what I needed to do. I did not get rid of it because of concerns of low performance. I just got rid of consoles in their entirety. In making my return, though, I did decide to go with the Series X because one was available.
Did you keep your Switch, or did Switch not count as a console?
I moved the Switch upstairs to finally let my kids utilize it. I've had it. I mean, I've had it since launch, and I always said that I was going to let them eventually get on it, and I finally did. I since bought a Switch OLED.
So
are they using it as a frisbee, or are they?
No,
no. There's some very strict rules around the Switch. Yeah.
So the Switch actually made it outside of the purview of losing all your consoles. I love it. The Switch, the one system sells a lot.
I wouldn't say that. It got moved upstairs, and I did not play it the entire time. I haven't touched the Switch.
It's still in your house.
Why did you keep the Switch and get rid of the PS5?
Because there was a practical use for the Switch for other people in the family to use it. I didn't have any desire for my kids to be on Xbox or PlayStation, but I was fine with them being on the Nintendo Switch.
And by the way, that PlayStation 5 went to a home that could happily use it.
Yeah, I found a very good place to land.
Yes, I did buy it.
Nice work,
Why
Nice
am I surprised?
How many systems do you have in your house that's not even opened up yet?
Enrique has a PS5 in every room of his house.
That is
even
not
rooms
true.
That actually don't have a display. They actually display anything. It's just sitting there, hooked to nothing for no reason.
That's the core. No. I only have two PlayStation 5s. I got bought a digital one from Game Logic, and then I have the PlayStation 5 I got at launch, which is the regular disc one. And I have more Xboxes in my house. I have two Xbox Series X consoles. And my 13-year-old has an Xbox Series S console. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's that.
We can do.
And three Nintendo Switches in the household. And
everything's accounted for.
And two gaming PCs and Oculus Quest 2. So that's my gaming setup here in the house, in the BRAP house.
So the only question I have.
But you know what though? Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. You're the.
No. But Forte. Here's my thing. I'm seeing a few people, and I won't call them out by name. There's a few people that are like, well, my kids like the Series S, and my wife likes the Series S. Guys, hear me out though. They'd also like an Xbox One X. They don't know the difference, right? I mean, what are we talking about? You guys are hardcore gamers. When we have these discussions and we're talking about upgrading from S to X, it's for that graphical fidelity, right? For the chance to go to that 120 FPS and all that goodness. And I know you can do it on certain games with the S, but when people are like, I mean, if you're gonna sit there and say my kids don't mind an S, you could have bought them an Xbox One X. You could have bought an Xbox One S. So it doesn't matter because they can play Fortnite on all of those consoles.
It actually does matter a little bit when it comes to load times because you can always tell when you're playing a game with somebody who's on a last-gen console.
Slow-mo. We're talking about kids. They'll wait 20 seconds. They're all on TikTok.
Oh, it's more than 20 seconds. You sit around.
They're on their phones watching TikTok while the game logs in anyway.
Who's still on this old crap? Because you're sitting here just waiting for the match to start. Like, what is happening?
So I would have a different opinion.
The point people are trying to make, though, is that their kids don't mind or certain family members don't mind. If they don't mind, they also don't mind waiting to load in. They're kids. They don't mind. They're on their phones while they're loading into to Fortnite, watching TikTok on their phones. Then when it loads in, they put their phone down, they pick up their controllers. We all know that. We all have kids. We get that. Like, my point is you can't be like, Series S is doing my kids' service. They don't care if it's an Xbox One X either.
My kids actually don't have cell phones either.
So this to me is the same argument. You're not going to like it. This is the same argument as somebody who buys a 3060 versus somebody who buys a 3080 Ti, right? We talked about this on Crossfire, right? There are different segments of the market for people who want to buy in at different price points. The fact of the matter is, as the Xbox Series S sits on the market at $299, the exact same price as the baseline Nintendo Switch, it gives people an option to participate in next-gen gaming, right? And for those gamers who are not discretionary to the point where they are concerned about having the absolute best picture, right? One of the things that we've talked about on my show is the fact that at the beginning of the generation and still today, right, we have this perspective that everybody is suited up like BRAP, right? But everybody's not. I have tons of friends who still aren't on 4K TVs, right?
What?
Because that's just yes.
Well, that's my point.
because
my
that's
point.
just not
say-
their thing. I have a 4K TV. I have
They
a
say they
4K.
don't care. They're like, oh, I don't care if it's in
Right.
4K. You know,
Right.
in all honesty, they probably do, but they're not going to go spend the money, and I don't blame them. I get it. And shout out to Skywalker, by the way. Skywalker goes, my wife wanted the Series S because it's cute and petite. That's my point. It doesn't have anything to do with the performance. Could have been an Xbox One X.
All right,
My whole thing is like, what I'm saying to you is like, shout out to Skywalker, by the way, awesome dude. But my thing is this, like, I just want to say, like, that the whole point here is that people are going to start to upgrade once they start to see that this thing is not going to be able to keep up with the Joneses as we move through this generation. And this generation, my friends, is just getting started. It's just getting started. This is easily going 10 years.
But I think that you're going to have people that will upgrade because they maybe want a more premium experience, or maybe they want that performance. But I do think there's going to be people too that are going to be okay playing the Fortnites or playing games that may not be as demanding, or maybe playing those games that aren't, maybe
right, for the hardcore gamer.
Correct. And games scale.
Yeah,
games scale, and they deploy on multiple platforms. They do not all have. It's just like we're on PC. We have minimum specifications. We have recommended specifications. We have high-end specifications. Now, nobody recommends that you play at the minimum specs, right? But there's also room between minimum specs and recommended.
Yeah. Let me get the super chat real quick from the Ash and Luca. Xbox is the best box. You already know. Also, what's up to my Italian M&M? Thank you for that, Justin.
Shout out to Luca.
So the question I have for the two whales on the chat on the panel.
Who are the whales? What are you talking about? Whales?
Slow-mo and
how am I a whale?
Slow-mo and Enrique.
How am I a whale?
How much? You two Fortnite lovers. How much did y'all spend over the last couple of days?
How much did you spend on Mass Effect 3 multiplayer?
A lot, $100, $1,000. I mean, yeah.
Okay,
$1,000.
So you're the whale.
$1,000.
Playoffs.
I did. It was crazy. I'm not proud of it. They got me.
Okay, well.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. I'm just asking how much did you.
Okay, Willie.
I'm not afraid to live on it though. What about you? How much did y'all spend?
I'm so confused.
How much did y'all spend over the last couple of days on Fortnite? Just
I haven't spent anything on Fortnite.
No,
the last couple of days.
Slow-mo's been grinding on Save the World to get V-Bucks.
That's right. I am a price conscientious gamer.
That's right.
Slow and I were just having this conversation because we were talking about the Dragon Ball Z skins that are coming to Fortnite. And he's like, yeah, Enrique, I'm grinding on what's it called on Save the World to get those V-Bucks. And I told him I'm going to grind on my Amex to get V-Bucks. So yeah, I mean, I've only spent about $70 so far in the game.
Yeah, I spent 100. I still have 7,800 V-Bucks left, so I'm waiting for I wanted to buy some of this Marvel stuff. I was looking at
7,800 V.
7,800.
How'd you get all those V-Bucks, man?
Going to the greatest website ever and buying skins that came with V-Bucks for real cheap.
So you're still a whale, okay?
That's not a whale.
All right. Hey, real quick, let me get this. Let me get another super chat from the Ashley Luca. $5 super chat from the Ashley Luca. Thank you again for that, Luca. Not free Willies. Slow-mo, I screamed. Laughing my ass off.
Yeah, he's Willie.
Oh man. All right.
And you're the guy that
touched the bottom. Willy.
And you're the guy that touched the bottom of Free Willie's stomach.
Okay.
What?
Well, I just don't. I don't.
Is this BRAP After Dark?
Yeah,
I'm happening here.
This sounds like BRAP on Crossfire. After BRAP goes to happy hour, and then goes to Crossfire.
Yeah, after a happy hour BRAP.
That is true. You and this happy hour stuff.
Yeah, that happy hour forte. I got to call those bars that live local to BRAP.
My wife said to me today. She bought home a bottle of wine. I'm like, oh, that's great. She's like, yeah. I'm like, maybe we can have some this weekend. You know what she said to me?
What?
She goes, no, I'm drinking it tonight. I'll give you a glass. I'm like, I don't drink during the week. She's like, what do you mean? You have a podcast? She goes, you drink on your podcast? I just said, no, that's Friday. It's on Moochie's show. She goes, oh yeah, that's right.
So he don't drink on his own show.
No, because my own show, I gotta be focused. On Moochie's show. He's the host.
That's why when we wrap up the show, I look forward to having a drink after the show.
Exactly.
And that must be why BRAP goes an extra 40 minutes every week.
This is so true.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys something. Who's excited for the next Grand Theft Auto 6?
Well, I got to say I am. I know maybe everyone else is tired of it, but I'm not. But believe it, this is ironic that you're even bringing this up. But I started playing GTA 5 online today again. I just went back because I get the because I did the $10 upgrade on the PS5. So I ended up, they give you like $4 million in, game currency. I went in there, I bought a bar, some new cars. I was actually playing it just like mid-afternoon. It was, I don't know. I think this game, it's kind of like Thanksgiving, right? I purposefully try not to eat turkey for the majority of the year because I want to look forward to it on Thanksgiving. Like, have you ever gone to somebody's house in September, they're like, well, we're going to make a turkey and this, that. You're like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? Don't make turkey in September. You're going to ruin Thanksgiving. It's kind of like that with GTA. I don't want to play it too often, but every once and again, like on Thanksgiving, I want turkey. So your GTA just kind of, it's a flavor that you just kind of acquire after the absence of it for so long. So, I don't know. I went back in there. I enjoyed it. I think GTA 6 is going to be, I think it's going to be great, to be honest with you. And I think it's probably, this one sold 170 million copies. They're going to sell over 200 with that one. And they're probably just going to blend the online community. So, I mean, we already know it prints money for Rockstar, but I'm excited for that, BRAP. I think it's going to do very well.
Yeah, and actually our good friend, friend of the show, true story, Strauss Zelnick, who's the CEO of Take-Two. Actually, they had an earnings call. I think it was this week or last week. I don't remember now. Obviously, development's well underway. They said that. But they said, hey, this game is going to set creative benchmarks for the series, the industry, and for all entertainment. And the rumor is that this game's supposed to take place in an area based in Miami. So if you think about Vice City,
That's
Vice
good.
City, yeah. So and then maybe the main protagonist might be a female playable character. So
Co-protagonist, they're saying it's
Is
like
it
a Bonnie and
co-protagonist,
Clyde.
or they-
Bonnie and Clyde kind of thing. So it'll be a
oh, that's
male
right.
and
Yeah, I
female
did hear kind of a
protagonist,
Bonnie
yeah.
Clyde type situation. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of
That sounds awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyone that says it's not, they're out of their minds. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I have enjoyed every Grand Theft Auto game. Probably Vice City might be my favorite of the. Well, no, San Andreas was actually pretty good. I don't know.
I would give it to
I
Vice City.
I go
too,
back
BRAP.
and forth. For me, Vice City
Yeah.
because of Ray Liotta being the
Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more, it felt a little more gangster, probably because of his voiceover. Also, it was the first time I remember being able to get into the car and start to change the music channels. Right, you couldn't do that before Vice City, if I don't remember right. I think Vice City was the first time.
I don't remember, man.
Come on, they had Mr. playing on the radio. How could you not love it?
I just remember, it was the first time the protagonist spoke. The Grand Theft Auto
Right.
3, he did not. He just kind of like nodded off and, had like clubs for hands.
Yeah.
So,
Fran.
yeah, but no, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 6, and Tom Henderson's kind of reported that this game could release either 2024 or 2025. So we'll see. Probably the next 2 or 3 years, we'll finally get a Grand Theft Auto 6. But anyone else on the panel excited about this game? No,
Not really.
Okay.
I'm not a big Grand Theft Auto fan. I've played a few of them, and probably played the most GTA 5 and GTA Online. But for me, it's I'll play it for certain, but it's not like there are a lot of people who are big GTA fans, and they play through all of them multiple times. That's just not me. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get it, but I don't really care that much.
I'm excited to once again buy it for my wonderful wife that plays GTA Online every Friday with her friends online. She's been doing that for the last 3 to 4 years now. And
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
they got a little group that they just always jump in and play. That's like literally outside of Sims or stuff like that. That's kind of the only other game she plays. So whenever any news about Grand Theft Auto comes out, she always gets super excited for that. So for me, I just like really watching her play it. I mean, it's cool. I'll go through the campaign and stuff. That's really cool. But just watching her enjoy the game is actually more fun to me, because when she can't figure something out, she's like, "Can you do this for me?" I'm like, "Why are you asking me? You're the Grand Theft Auto connoisseur." But it's really, really cool just watching other people play the game. So I'm really looking forward for her to get her hands on it when it finally does come out.
That's actually really cool, Forte, that your wife plays Grand Theft Auto, man.
Every Friday for 4 to 5 years now.
Wow. And they just like drive around. They do like the heist or something like that. Isn't that like one of the
she has like a little group, like her and her friends and stuff. I think she's only missed like I probably say over 4 or 5 years, she's probably only missed like 6 or 7 Fridays where they didn't do it. Like I know they just missed a Friday a couple of weeks ago because they were out of the country. But yeah, it's like it's like her best friends and stuff. They all play and they all get together. Like matter of fact, this Friday I know they're gonna be doing a heist. Whenever the new heists come out, though, sometimes she takes off the weekend so she could just do nothing but play Grand Theft Auto and stuff. So she's like, "You're the man of the house." I was like, "Well, when is that any other difference?" She said, "Well, because I always do everything, and you need to do stuff this week because I'm playing Grand Theft Auto." I'm like, "Oh, okay.
King of the castle."
Yep. So yeah, it's cool that she does that though. I really enjoy watching her play it.
Yeah, no, that actually really is cool, man. It's I like I said, I haven't played.
Have a wife that plays games, so
Yeah, no, that you're lucky, man. Like again, I haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5 and when did that game release? 2013?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it was like 2013. Yeah, because it came out on last gen consoles. Yeah.
I think I bought it twice. I think I bought it when the 360 came out, and then I bought it on the Xbox One. So I bought it twice.
It was like a 2 month. It's like a 2 month window between
yeah, and there was no
coming out and then the console, and there was no update until
there was no upgrade
5 years
path
later.
Yeah, there was no upgrade path back then either. I just bought it, got it 360, bought it again the Xbox One.
You know what the upgrade path for Grand Theft Auto is? Buy it again.
Pretty much. I mean, that's why
what it is. That's what it is for this generation. Buy it again.
Yeah, I mean that's the shark cards, right?
That's what people don't realize it, man. It's like, man, Grand Theft Auto is only $19. I'm about to buy it again. I said, yeah, because all you're doing are paying for shark cards at this point. That's
why the damn game was charting for top 10.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They just said instead of just trying to convince people to buy the shark cards, they was like, we're just going to make Grand Theft Auto $20 and give you a $20 shark card inside of it. So you're literally just paying for the shark card.
Yeah,
they're just giving you the software at this point.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, I mean, but Take-Two's they've got some games that just, I mean,
they got a lot of games that
two
major ones.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the numbers for Red Dead Redemption 2? I think it sold 48 million copies.
And people thought that game probably because it didn't. People don't talk about it or don't play it as much, but that game still sold a lot, bro. A lot.
Yeah, no,
buy it brand new now. People still buy it brand new now.
Forte, are you seeing people when people come to your store, are people buying it still? Do you see that?
Yeah, people still buy it all the time. We probably sell more used copies of it than anything, but I still have people every once in a while come in and still buy new copies of it. Whenever they said, "Oh, so you got it new?" I was like, "Well, there's like a $20 difference between new and used." Well, yeah, I'd rather get the new one. I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, that's actually wow. Yeah, when I saw that number, then you talk about the two biggest, the other franchises they have. What is it? We just Grand Theft Auto and NBA 2K.
Grand Theft Auto, NBA 2K. They cleaned up with those. Those three are like the trifecta for them, and then it's just they have one studio that produces one of them. Though that's not the only thing that sucks for 2K, that the one studio they know can pump out a 100 million seller almost when it comes to Grand Theft Auto. You only get one every other generation, it seems, at this point, because they didn't even make one last generation. And a lot of that might have to be with the fact that it came out towards the very end of the generation too, of the 7th gen.
Gotcha.
That might be the reason. That might be the main reason why they didn't give us one last, because they were still in the midst of making Red Dead Redemption at that time. So,
yeah, interesting. Well, yeah, again, looking forward to it. 2020, whatever, 2025 can't be here soon enough. I mean, it's definitely gonna be a must play for me. I don't know what platform I'll play it on, but I'm definitely picking it up. So. T-Rock says Red Dead Redemption 2 sold 25 million the first weekend. Is that true? First week? End?
Yeah, it did.
That's huge. Holy shit. I don't know. Wow. All right, have you guys been following this story about AppLovin potentially buying Unity? Have you guys read this? Heard about this?
I looked into it a little bit. Isn't that a malware company or something like that? Like they do malware. I think that's the same company I heard that is looking into it. But yeah, I thought that was a little bit interesting.
Yeah,
Unity's its own engine, right, Slow-Mo? Or
Yeah, it's they have an engine that's basically free to use. It's very
Isn't
similar
that a
to
big
how
U-
Unreal
isn't that a big-
is.
was that a big Ubisoft used a lot of their, right? Didn't they use that engine for a bit or no?
No, I don't think Ubisoft. They may have some devs that may partake in it, but for the most part, a lot of their engines are proprietary.
Okay.
They create themselves, like Snowdrop engine with the Division and
Right.
other games, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
for some reason Unity just stuck out with me with Ubisoft.
Assassin's
I don't
Creed
know.
Unity.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
Yeah,
why.
maybe that's it. Who the hell
Yeah.
knows? Yeah, I don't know. I did just kind of breeze by this subject, perhaps. So unfortunately, I don't know much about it. Who would you say is interested in buying it?
Yeah, AppLovin. So they're a mobile tech company. They're a mobile ad tech company,
okay.
and they've recently expanded to video game publishing the last couple of years. So basically, they've offered to acquire Unity at $17.54 billion in an all stock deal. I haven't heard anything else whether or not this deal is going to happen or not. But this company has been making acquisitions in the gaming space as well. They picked up Machine Zone, maker of Game of War, Fire Age, Mobile Strike. I don't know any of those games. Never played any of those games. And that was at $500 million. And iOS game Wordle. I don't even know what that is. They're still involved in their ad, doing advertisements and stuff like that. But last year they actually did acquire a Twitter about $1 billion. So, but yeah, I haven't seen anything else. Logic, have you heard anything else about this proposal to Unity? Have you heard anything else?
Yeah, just to clarify. So Unity, who is headed by the former CEO of EA, I can't remember his first name, but it's Riccitello, I think is how it's pronounced. So the first deal that was actually underway was a $4.4 billion merger with a company called Iron Source, who is a bit infamous for bundling a bunch of. I teeter-totter on the edge of whether or not it's formally malware or not. It was software that was detected by Windows Defender and Malwarebytes as malware. But it really seems, mostly from a threat perspective to kind of be what we used to kind of refer to as adware. But I think we're kind of in the industry just junking everything into the same bucket of what we call malware. And so that was the original deal that was underway. AppLovin is another interested investor who has come along and offered to buy Unity instead of Unity merging with Iron Source, which would then wipe that deal off of the table. And then obviously the impact to the gaming industry, as Slow-Mo kind of talked about, Unity is a very popular engine that is utilized by developers because it makes it easy to port games from different operating systems to different operating systems, in particular games that run on mobile. And so with this, and it's really kind of by size the only thing that's really a contender to Unreal Engine. So that's kind of the shakeup that would happen on the landscape. As it is, I think a lot of the things that Riccitello has said recently, and a lot of these acquisition deals and mergers that are under discussion may, I would suspect, cause developers to start kind of backing away from the table with regards to Unity. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely interested to see how this plays out. I feel like Unity, though, was very popular amongst indie developers too. Is that?
Yeah, because their licensing model is different than Unreal Engines and seems a little more. I think there's no upfront licensing cost, and there's just kind of back end distribution and royalty payouts for sales of Unity units, whereas I think Unreal Engine has an upfront licensing cost.
They've adopted more of Unity's philosophy when it comes to not needing upfront costs. when it comes to indie developers, though, with Unreal, they kind of compete with Unity. So like, what will happen with Unreal is if let's say if everybody in this panel decided to make a video game and we're going to use Unreal, there will be no licensing cost to us up to I think the revenue of the game would have to hit like maybe $500,000 or more than that for us to actually have to pay out to Epic. So and then they're like, it gets even better if you're like if you put the game on Epic Game Store, timed exclusive, then like those you may not have to pay anything at all. I think let me clarify what I said before. You wouldn't have to pay any licensing costs until after the game has already launched. If it is below a certain amount of revenue, and then if it does go above that, then you would have to pay at that point. But if you I think Epic if you put the game into Epic Game Store, it will be you don't have to have any cost for licensing the engine at all. So it's like they got a couple different ways to get around it, but definitely Unity and Unreal are the two game engines that seem to be the most popular for like indie developers.
Yeah. I appreciate that insight, Samo.
Well, it says it right here. It says Financial Times reported that Unity's engine powers some of the world's most lucrative mobile games, such as Pokemon Go, and Activision's Call of Duty Mobile.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty popular.
Yeah. I want to grab a super chat here real quick from Donnell Brown. $5 super chat. Thank you, Donnell. Says, I was told 40 FPS is okay now. Oh, boy.
Oh man, I screenshotted that and I almost posted it on Twitter. I was like, someone said, "What 40 frames per second?"
That's not the entire context, sir.
No, he was talking about the Steam Deck, but still, the simple fact that man had the nerve to say 40 frames per second should be the standard when it comes to game. I was like, what?
No, he said if 30 is going to be a benchmark, it should be the 40 and not 30. Like if 30 is going to be the low end.
No. Anything.
All right. Wait, okay. Let me finish your super chat here real quick.
60.
Let me just finish your super chat here. All right. And Mooch, the Mets suck. It's all about the Dodgers. Donnell.
Let's go Mets. That's Donnell Brown, the great Donnell Brown, by the way.
Let's go. Like I can't root for the Dodgers ever.
No.
Yeah, I just can't. I'm sorry. Nothing was more pleasing to me to watch them lose 4 straight World Series or whatever it was. I forget what it was, but
it was a good time.
It was a good time. So
Donnell Brown.
Yeah. So go ahead, Forte. Finish your thought, man.
No. I mean, that's all I had to say. It was crazy. I was like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I understand the whole thought process on 40 frames per second feels better than 30. I mean, anything feels better than 30 frames per second when it's stable. But who wants to play anything under 60 frames per second?
So the other reason that comment was foolish is games obviously run by math, and there's actually a reason why all of the frames per second that we generally talk about are multiples of 30. So display technologies are oriented around that, right? Some of your films are then oriented around 24 frames per second, which is why you have monitors that do things like 144 hertz. So the point is that there are no industry standard monitors that run at 40 hertz. That is specifically a spec of the Steam Deck display, and I think it has now a special mode that they've enabled for 40 frames per second. So the reason developers aren't targeting that is because, what did we say last week, that there are like 125,000 Steam Decks out in the wild? So
something like that, yeah.
Nobody's targeting that, right, for baseline performance envelopes for hardware optimization. So that it was just kind of quite frankly, I'll just say like a dumb statement that was oriented around linear math, and obviously that's not the way games are programmed.
Yeah, it's like part of me wanted to give him a break and say, maybe he's just talking about the Steam Deck.
I am not giving that guy a break.
But that's the first thing I thought about. I'm like, no. I don't care if you were just talking about the Steam Deck. The fact that you literally said 40 frames per second should be a standard if you can't hit 30. I'm like, how about you make a game that's 60 frames per second, or make consoles that can consistently hit 60 frames per second, and we don't have this issue anymore. That's the problem. People are I mean, I understand people's artistic values and stuff and the way that they want their game to be perceived and played, but we're at 30 frames per second is like 1990. We should have been past 30 frames per second 2 generations ago, but we're finally at the prefaces of actually doing that. And we got people with huge followings like him saying that, 40 frames per second should be a standard if they can't hit 30. I'm like, well, 30 frames per second isn't nothing. You're like kind of making it seem like 30 frames per second should have been a norm. It shouldn't be the norm. 60 is always should be the norm. And that's something we're supposed to be celebrating this generation above all other generations, because we're finally getting a chance to see what consoles been able to do that PCs can do forever almost.
I think you're giving that guy way too much credit for the depth of thought of that foolish one-liner.
I injected my thoughts into that.
Yeah, it's a fact. You have an entire planet full of freaking technology that's oriented around certain multiples, and 40 is not one of them.
Yeah, no, that's. Were you saying something, Slomo?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought I heard you chime in, man.
60 FPS a buzz for me, and if I'm forced to play a game under 60, I'm having a really bad time with it. So.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm playing Fortnite on Xbox Series X now, Slomo, because the frame rate counter shows me 120 locked.
Facts.
Off your TV?
No, the frame rate counter in the game.
Oh, really?
It's got a frame rate counter.
I thought on console they just gave you your latency.
No, in the game in the game you can turn on the frame rate counter.
Nice.
Yeah.
On what console?
I'm glad consoles are finally getting that.
This is Fortnite that's allowing this. So Fortnite has a frame counter that you have to turn on. And
that's what I was asking you. Is it the console or is it the game?
It's the game.
Yeah, it's the game. I will say this much, just as a top level, I absolutely, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure Slow-Mo is actually destroying me in hours put in, but I am, listen, I didn't put a whole lot of time in the PC gaming before. At least I'm doing somewhere, I mean, I'm 90% console gamer, but that 10% a week, I am gaming on my Steam Deck. And listen, if there's a lot of people that write me throughout the week on Twitter. They're like, Mooch, I know you have Steam Deck. What do you think? And we go back and forth. And I got to say, it's an amazing piece of tech. And if you're on the fence, if you don't want it, I'm not talking you into it. But if you're one of those individuals that's on the fence, listen, man, I think it's a must-have. I mean, if you're sitting there telling me that you have an Xbox, you have a PlayStation, you have a Switch, maybe I don't care what PC you have. I don't care if you have a 1080 Ti still. I don't care if you have a 2080 Ti. I don't care if you have a 3070. I can't see why you wouldn't want to have this unbelievably powerful device in your hands to go play these games natively on there. And then, like, just the same way you're playing it natively, you're not streaming it. It's not a cloud. You're playing the game, and then you can put it down, and then you can go pick up where you left off on your PC. It's I don't know, Slow-Mo. I mean, I would assume you're a huge fan. I love the device. I don't regret 1 second in buying this. And I remember a lot of people when I said I ordered it the day it came out, and people ridiculed. I can't believe you're spending that kind of money on it. Aren't we on a gaming podcast? You know what I mean? I wasn't talking about a throw rug. So, I don't get it. I think it's a great piece of tech, to be honest with you, Brap. It's if you guys are on the fence, put your name in the line. Get one of those bad boys. They're great.
And the vast majority of the games I do play on it, I play at 60. Like I have.
Yeah, same Slow-Mo. Yeah.
If I can't get a lock 60, then I'm just not playing it on it. It's just
I paid for the price
on my PC.
I paid for the price on the battery end of it, though. But yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Gamelot, you were going to say something?
I was going to actually say it was a good time to mention that my earlier comment about 4K TVs. I'm sure I'm deliberately not watching chat tonight. I'm sure that there were some explosive comments about that. Market penetration of 4K TVs as of March 2021 was 44%.
Really?
Increased 13% between 2018 and 2021 in 3 years. Right. Wow. So, again, I go back to I've got buddies who, anecdotal, admittedly, right, but large family, lots of kids, not the type of household that spends just buku bucks on all types of wild electronics out the wazoo, right? Just got his 4K TV because he bumped to a PlayStation 5. So again, I would contend that, the 50% of the households, right, don't have 4K TVs, aren't wrapped around the XL up playing at 4K.
Yeah, interesting, man. I've never even I was under the assumption that the market penetration for 4K TVs was much higher than 44%, maybe half. What I was thinking, but
yeah.
So.
And I hate to continue an old argument, but I will also add on, because we just talked about the Steam Deck being kind of an ancillary part of your gaming menagerie, right? And that's again a reason why I think, right, the Xbox Series S is appealing to some people, because when it's not your primary console, again, why go out and pay, right, $500 for the top end console if that's not going to be your primary? I think that's an option that some gamers take.
Yeah. I do want to transition over to speaking of Xbox Series S or Xbox in general. I'm sure everyone here on the panel, I'm assuming everyone on the panel has heard about the Xbox Family Game Plan, which is, I think, being tested in my father's home country of Colombia, which is kind of cool, and Ireland. So now there was a poll. Windows Central did a poll where they, basically polled their readers saying, is this something you're interested in? 75% of the respondents, not surprised by 75% of the respondents on Windows Central saying that they're excited, that they're, gung-ho or that this is something that they would, that they have interest in. 75% say they're interested in the Xbox Game Pass family plan. Now, what do you guys, again, now this is, obviously, we don't know everything about this plan. We were kind of going back and forth, Game Logic and DM, about. I think some people think that you, in fact, might be able to play the same game simultaneously on the family game sharing plan or game plan, but that hasn't been fleshed out yet. I know we talked a little bit about this on BRAP last Friday on the BRAP rant, but that really hasn't been discussed. You brought up something I didn't even think about, like that there's a difference between licenses and I forget what it was. Now you're gonna have to. Refresh my memory here.
I mean, what I talked about on the rant, right, was the same thing, kind of slow-mo, and I kicked around, right, when there was the major Xbox network outage, right, is that there are different attributes, right, as part of the overall access schema, right, associated with Xbox accounts, and I would actually say, right, associated with probably every sort of gaming account, right, as that is predominantly the case for various methods, right, for having access to any type of digital media, right? And so those attributes are different. They are owned by different systems. And so you have an Xbox Live ID, right? And then that may also be connected to your Microsoft ID, and that may also be connected to whether or not you are a valid Game Pass subscriber in good standing, right? Might be another attribute. So there are lots of different attributes, right? There could be, let's say, 20, right? And then licensing is also separate. That is a separate attribute. And so there's an assumption, I think, now that that the family game plan, right, will allow you to access content, which I would say is primarily a licensing attribute, right? That would be checked, right, to access all of those games concurrently. Right now, that is an attribute that is owned, I would say, by game sharing, right? Or that's when it's predominantly traversed. And so I just don't know that that's a guarantee, right? And so until I see a use case in the wild after this program exits Insider Preview, which is where it currently sits. And so it is also highly likely that there will be changes to various policies that are being associated, right, with it while it's in preview versus when it's rolled out commercially for large-scale uptake across the Xbox ecosystem, right? So the notion that, let's say, Battlefield 2042, something that you would normally, right, require a paid license to be able to access, it's an assumption, I would think, that, you're going to put 5 people on the family plan and all 5 of them are going to be able to access Battlefield 2042 and play concurrently. There are weird isms, right, that are associated with the way Xbox grabs a license token for a piece of software that's associated with an Xbox account. That is also differentiated based on whether or not you're calling it from your designated home console versus another console. Now you're going to have 5 different family members who may be on different consoles, right? We'll probably be on different consoles, right? And so it's just not a guarantee on exactly how that's all going to work.
It's not even just family members. They're actually going a step further. It's supposedly friends and family. So it
Well,
could
right,
be
right.
it could be you, and it could be 4 friends that live, maybe you have one friend in Michigan, you got one friend in Maryland,
Mooch,
you got another friend in Florida.
We could do family game plan, man. We could do it together.
Well, I mean,
I think the only restriction is like they gotta be within the country.
Yeah,
that's
I use the term family colloquially, right? It's anybody. It's agnostic to whether or not they're actually related to you by blood, but my point's the same.
Yeah.
Well, and so let me ask you guys something. Like, how? I know none of us can say for sure. So this is the speculation part of the podcast. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is going to catch on with a lot of gamers? I mean, for me, we kind of discussed this with our buddy Crusader today, Mooch. For me, it's not. It's really not something that I would find value in, because I'm already sharing, multiple. Yeah. I have 2 Xbox, well 3, but my 13-year-old actually pays for his own Game Pass subscription, which he should. Good for him, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And then the other 2 Xboxes share my and my PC. They all have my Game Pass account, and the kids kind of pop in and out. And
I do the same thing. I don't need I game share with my son, so he already reaps the benefits of that, and I don't have anybody else that I would necessarily. I say this all the time on Crossfire. We say it all the time on Twitch streams too. My immediate friends that do game, they're what we always call casual, and they're the casual gamers. My one friend plays only NBA 2K. My other friend only plays Madden. My other 2 friends that I have, they play Warzone. Period. Like, I even say to them, hey guys, check this out. There's Ghost Recon. They're like, nah, Warzone. So my point being is this. Listen, for me, it doesn't work. I'm not saying to you guys that are listening to the show or listening later, this might be great for you. I think this maybe what this does, and BRAP, we were talking about this on one of your blood pressure calls that you like to call me on. BRAP likes to get, he does. He gets me. He gets the BP up.
I call Mooch like Friday morning, getting like, let me tell you something. You think he yells now? You should hear him on these calls. In the morning.
That's when the 3 coffees are really, really just, they're pumping through the veins. And, we're going, and, I think that me and BRAP were going back and forth. What we were saying was, this is going to be a spike in the hardcore camp. You're going to see a lot of the hardcore take advantage of this, right? So they can have friends, like family, literally. So everyone's got a couple of 2, 3, 4 kids. Now everyone can kind of play, or maybe you have an extended a brother, a sister, cousin, whatever. That may work in that camp. For people that don't want to take on, right, that don't want to take on the monthly charge of another subscription cost, which is what you're seeing right now. You're seeing a lot of issues. HBO Max, Netflix, Disney Plus is going up. It's just people who are casual gamers are not going to flock to it because it went from $10 to $7. Or if you split it with one other person, it's $12.50. They don't. I think if you weren't going to commit to a $10 a month deal anyways, I don't think going to like $8 a month is going to move the needle if you're splitting it. But the other thing is that I also think that this is a huge kind of Trojan horse, because now Microsoft, instead of counting one, I'm going to use the old-fashioned, like, let's use the household, right? You have 3 kids, 1 adult. You get this thing. You have 4 people, right, in the household using it. Your household used to count as 1 subscription. Your household for Microsoft, still same people kind of using it, now it counts as 4. So they get to, in 24 hours time, ramp the 25 million number up, which is, again, it's kind of synthetic in a sense because a lot of it's just your kids that were using Game Pass, like me and BRAP and our kids. Now they have 4 people in their house using it, so they tally 4 instead of 1. It's genius in one way, and it's kind of just smoke and mirrors in another. I don't necessarily think this moves the needle because everything out there when it comes to subscription services are roughly between $6 and $10 a month, right? I mean, you think about what you're enjoying for your media. And again, this is gaming. Gaming media is digested differently than Netflix and Disney Plus and HBO Max. Okay, you could be half in the bag. You could have finished a 5th of vodka, sat down on a chair and watched, Justice League, the Zack Snyder edition, and fell asleep 45 minutes into the 3-hour and 25-minute movie. So that's not exactly how you can get through a video game. You can't be like, that game was great, but I passed out 15 minutes in. Doesn't really work that way. So what I'm saying is that this is good. I do think you'll see the needle move. Will it skyrocket? That's to be determined. I don't think so necessarily. But like I say, it's definitely something that's Netflix is actually fighting this. Netflix has had. I'm on a plan right now with Netflix with a friend, right? And there's 4 of us, right? But Netflix wants to get rid of that because they're saying, well, you can just share your password with anybody. Now they've conquered that. You wouldn't be able to share. But the fact of the matter is, to have 4 for that price, you got to remember something here. Forget the introductory price of the $10 for solo or the 20. Now they're saying, it's $25 for the family. These are going to skyrocket in price once they get things in there. Once they've got the Call of Duties in there, right? Once they've got all the Bethesda games cooking. Once they got you in there, 10's going to 15, 15's going to 20, and 25's going to go to 35, 40. And that's just the way it is. You can say, oh, Moot, you're full of shit. No, I'm not. And you guys know it. Because if you don't believe me, Disney's a big-time company, too. They're going up. Netflix goes up every year. So, and they got 200 million people in 200 million subs. So you can't say it's not going to go up. The reason Microsoft's not going up is no one's flocking to Game Pass like they originally intended. I say that, and of course a lot of people go, how do you everybody gets into a riot mode. Give them pitchforks and knives. Let's go to Crossfire. No, take it easy. But realistically, after 5-6 years, okay, and you're at 25 million, Microsoft's clearly still in the farming stage. They're still out there trying to farm people, right? And now you're going, well, Mooch, where are you coming up with that? One person was $10. Now 4 people, $25. I mean, they're giving this away. So it is what it is.
So,
but
I don't necessarily agree that the price might be jacked up right now, but regardless.
I didn't say right now. I said down the road.
Yep, absolutely.
How could it not, Game Logic? I mean, have you seen gas, milk, or anything else you've bought this week? Everything goes up, buddy. Like, you can't say I don't see it happening. I mean, if you've you're a grown man who pays taxes. I mean, come on. When was the last time when did your taxes go down lately?
I think we can absolutely say that the price of gaming products might not go up because we've just been arguing, and we continue to argue for the past few months about the fact that game prices themselves have not gone up in 16 years, and the subscription price on Xbox Game Pass hasn't moved in 5. So I just don't know that it's going to necessarily go up right at any specific rate. I'm not saying that prediction is incorrect. I'm just saying that I don't know.
I'm not putting a timestamp on it, but I said eventually.
Right. The main thing I wanted to point out, though, just to, and I don't think you said this and meant this intentionally, but that notion that it's going to be $25 is entirely based on people backing into that math based on the conversion rate from
correct.
Right. So that's a guess as well.
Well, I mean, there's people that, like I said,
and by the way,
that are saying
there's
it that
people,
are supposedly in the know.
There's people run. Yeah, I mean, there's people.
Gamer Logic is right.
Yeah, there's people running kind of wild with that Game Logic too. Even this week, after we talked about this on BRAP Friday, like there's people like doing the math.
I had
now
figured it would easily been 35 to 40 for that, and I mean, if you do the math the way that it is currently set,
I read $60 or something for 5 people total.
Well, I mean, I don't know. All I know is right now, if you do the math the way that they're breaking it down, 18 days, and you do the math, it's $25. But I do think that, like you were saying, Game Logic, when this thing comes out for commercial use, right, commercial purchasing, these temporary, if you will, what's the word I'm looking for here, trials that they're doing right now in the Insider program, these numbers may not equate to what we're going to be paying later, although they might just move forward with that. So, again, I think it was BRAP or it was a Gamer Logic. I apologize, guys. One of you guys said it. We really do have to wait a little bit more on this particular subject to find out cost and, like you were saying, licensing, how that would work, how distribution would work with that. I think the licensing issue is probably a lesser of an issue. I think of Game Pass like Microsoft pays X amount of dollars for these games. And if the account is linked through the family plan and they want to go in and they want to play a game that's in there and I want to play the same game as the kids do and we play the same game. Like, my point being is that you should be able to dip into that pot of Game Pass games, play that game individually on your unique account within Game Pass, the 4 people on the program. And I think Microsoft maybe pays, I don't know how they have it set up, pay per time somebody downloads the game. But I don't think that's an issue because I think that pot of games is something that they've negotiated with the publishers to say these games are going to continuously be downloaded over and over and over again. You will be compensated for that. that's a them problem, not an us on this panel problem. But I think it's more about what this is going to cost on a monthly basis is more important than anything right now. And again, we have to wait to see. But again, the mathematics, if you do it the way it says, with an 18-day, the way that they put it into the article, it does work out to $25. Now, that seems awfully low. That seems awfully low for 4 people where you were originally, or 4 or 5 people. I don't know how it's being broken down, where we're at $10 a month now. So, it just, something seems a bit off there, but maybe that's a trial price. Maybe we have more to find out, but I'm interested to hear what the rest of the panel thinks.
Slow-mo, Dialogic, Forte.
Yeah, that one at a time. Look, I
just have
I
one
don't
question.
care.
Okay.
I just don't care about that.
Slow-mo.
You don't care about the game. You don't care about the
that
Game Pass
much.
plan.
No, I really just don't. Like, I don't think it's that big a deal. I think like people who do have kids can engage in it. My son has as a Series S.
I mean, Slow-mo, they
Based off of what
Yeah.
what I've seen, I may be able to allow him to basically play it while I play mine, because I have him as a child account under my account. So like, he doesn't. If I want to jump on my Series S while he's playing, I would essentially be knocking him off. So this will give him his own unique Game Pass. So therefore, that wouldn't be an issue. That wouldn't be a problem in the future, which is okay. But is that worth $25 a month to me? Probably not.
No.
So for me, this wouldn't be that big. It wouldn't be something I would engage in. But if I had like 2 other buddies that was like, yeah, let's get in this Game Pass together. But we'll, I don't care about giving $5 a month from them. But like, if that's the case, then I would do it, because it'd be more people engaging in it. But I don't think it's something that's going to be like, this is going to change everything kind of deal. No, I think it's going to be very situational, depending upon the actual gamer. Because there's a lot of gamers that just like, they're the only person in their household that play games. So for them,
that's a really good point.
Well, and the other thing
unless
is,
they got like a team of people that they like, or a bunch of friends that they all decide, hey, we'll all get under, our one buddy that got a full-time job, and we over here, working at less. Then like, yeah, like that's, it just seems
like
very
you said, Slow-mo, and I know everybody in the panel has kids. I mean, we're talking about my family when the kids, they game Roblox, they play Fortnite, and they play Warzone. That does not make me move the needle on buying a family plan for a Game Pass.
Yeah, and none of that's in Game Pass. So
none of that's in Game Pass.
Yeah,
so
and it's free games for the most part.
Right. I mean, it costs us parents a fortune with the skins that they're costing $20 a pop, but nonetheless, that's a different conversation. They should have a Game Pass for Fortnite skins and Warzone skins.
Yeah, I'll be down for that.
I'll be down for that.
There's a good side and a bad side to this, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it. I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days. Should have made a video on it, but the biggest thing so the good thing is it will make it's Game Pass Ultimate. It's not just Game Pass.
That's right.
So it's $15.
That makes the 25 sound even crazier.
That's
go
20,
ahead.
Yeah. So the good thing is, if this, and like I said, we're just going off the information we have when it comes to pricing. We don't really know exactly what the total price is going to be. But I think as long as Xbox Live is a paid for service that you have to have online to play certain games, this will be a better deal to do it this way. Because then everybody that's in that service is literally paying $5. So you're basically getting access to Xbox Game Pass, and you're getting access to online for the price that you will be paying for just the online by itself.
That's been their ultimate pitch since day one.
Right, but that's been the ultimate pitch since day one. So as long as Xbox Game Pass stays a paid for service. Now the bad side to this.
Hold on for a day. Depending on what the scale is, right? When we talked about Slow-mo's scenario where it's just one other person, right? Depending on what the scale is, you can do that now.
Yes.
Right? If you're in the same household, right, and you designate one of those Xboxes as your home, Any person who signs in that home can share your
And
games,
yes,
your Game Pass, and your Game Pass Ultimate
you
subscription.
That's what we
hit
do.
on
That's
the
what we do.
bad side of it. You just hit on the bad side of it because inherently, if you have a family plan, that means in order for you to access that content and be a part of that family, you have to be logged in on your console that has your stuff on it. Meaning, if I associate your gamer tag as part of this service.
Forte. What a point.
Why? This is what I don't hear people talking about.
Yeah, no one's
Xbox
talking about
is-
that.
How they might be trying to find a way to circumvent people saving, on their money on games.
Because let me just put Forte's example out there for Forte, and tell me if I'm reading you right, because this is a great
go
point.
ahead.
Right now, my son, I have 300 and something, 400 something Xbox games. My son has access to my games.
Every last one of them.
Right? So forget that's not Game Pass. That's my games I own, right? So all of a sudden, if he's got to log on, and no longer on the home console, he's got to be on his own account down there, which is great. Like we said, that includes the Xbox Live Gold.
Yep.
But that means now he does have Game Pass, but he loses
doesn't have access to all
to
those
my
games.
games.
So
And
that's
I got news
Xbox's
for you.
way.
I got news for you. Mooch's collection, it's better than Game Pass.
I agree, but there's going to
my
be a lot
God.
of people out there. There's
It's
going to be
true.
people out there that's probably going to do that.
Mooch Pass.
That's interesting. Mooch Pass coming Friday. Listen, Forte, outstanding
It's an
point.
interesting
I mean,
point,
it's hypothetical, but it's a great talking point.
Yeah. Game Lots, go ahead, man.
Help me out so I can understand. So why? So right now today, right? You designate an Xbox as your home console, right? And anybody who logs into that could access all of Mooch's games, right?
Yes.
So now you go to a family plan, right? Let's say you have 2 users in the same household and you have 3 users outside of it, right? Anybody still in the household can still log onto the home console and gain access to all of your paid for games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anybody who logs into the non-home console, well, let me take that back. So inside your own household, anybody, let's say the kid logs into home.
You're talking about inside your own household. I don't think that's the case. But how many people, let's be for real here. How many people are not doing inside their own household?
No, but I just want to get it straight. So, because it sounded to me like what we were saying was that people who sign up for the family plan are going to lose access to Mooch's library of games by shifting to the family plan.
If you're on the same Xbox, you're fine.
Well,
if you're on if my kids want to play on my Xbox in my game room, and all the accounts that are associated with it are still on that account,
on the home
I think you
Xbox.
can still do everything the same way.
Yes.
I think the difference is when you want to log into a different Xbox on a completely different system, and that whole account sharing thing, I think that's where they're trying to. Well, like I said, this is all hypothetical, but I think that's where, because think about it, when you're logged in, it's basically saying unless they, who knows, we don't know. Like I said, this is just all spitballing. But when you log in, have if they make it so a point where they say you have to be like your account that you're associating, you associate systems and accounts for games for family plans.
Right. I want to try and hold the reins on too much of the speculation, right? So so today and on the family plan, in your own household, you designate one as home. Anybody who logs into that can access your games. You can go to the other Xbox inside your household, right? That's not designated as home, log in on your account, and you can still access all your games.
That's correct.
So it's a little bit of chicanery. This is the same way that it works on Nintendo. It kind of pisses me off because I want mine and I want my Switch OLED, right, to be the home console, right?
Yes,
but I can't have it that way. I have to have the home console, the other one everybody else uses. And Xbox works the same way. That's not going to change on the family plan. Now, everybody outside the household won't have access to your game library, but they never would have had access to your game library anyway.
Well, now wait a minute. If you're talking about friends outside of our 4 walls, you're right. But with Forte and Slow-Mo and myself, we're sharing with our in-house family. They do have access to our games. They will not, hypothetically, on their own Xbox.
Correct. So if you have 5 Xboxes in the same household, only one of them is going to be home, and that's the one everybody will have to go log into to access your paid-for games.
That's what Forte was saying. Yeah, you'd have to go to the one home location.
Right.
Yes.
But that's still the same way it works today. That's not a change.
No,
Well,
I'm just saying, but they're going
right.
to basically supervent people from being able to do the sharing across multiple systems. Like I don't think
Well,
like I said, when it comes to, like, this is all them trying to find a way, and this has been going on for a while now. You think they like people just giving their information and say, "Oh, I trust you. I'm going to allow you to be able to log in on my account to put it on your system to make it home so we can split the cost of games."
Yeah, but I just want to kind of hold the reins a little bit, right? I don't think that's a circumvention. I think that's simply a continuity of the same exact policy that they have now. And now you could argue that it's not as beneficial, right, as a larger rollout would be, that would give access to everyone on the family plan, right, in the same household or whatever, access to the games library. But again, this goes back to the type of things that sometimes some people might assume that are not the case because they're not documented in any policy and they haven't been advertised by Microsoft as such.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, it's a wait and see situation, Brett.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Real quick, I do want to move on to another topic here. I know Mooch is on borrowed time, but I do want to move on to something interesting that just came about actually today. Microsoft with some claims about Sony. So Microsoft's actually response to as we talked about, I think last week, Sony responding to a questionnaire by Brazilian's regulatory agency, Brazil's national, whatever their competition regulator is. I think it's called, hold on, what is it? The Administrative Council for Economic Defense. And Sony, replied to this questionnaire. Microsoft has also replied as well. And Microsoft had some interesting things to say about Sony. Microsoft has claimed that Sony pays for blocking rights to stop developers from adding their content to GamePass. They're saying that Microsoft's ability to continue expanding GamePass has been hampered by Sony's desire to inhibit such growth. This is what Microsoft is responding to the Brazilian regulatory agency. Again, they say Sony is paying for blocking rights to prevent developers from adding content to Game Pass, other competing subscription services as well. So I got to say, some interesting, I don't know if I want to say interesting, but some really bad takes on the Twitters about this, where I saw one individual basically run with this narrative that Sony was, this is further proof of Sony just doing what they've been doing for the last 20 years and being dishonest. So, and I don't know how that equates to dishonesty, competing in the marketplace and trying to outmaneuver your your competitor. I mean, Sony isn't doing anything. I think you said this logic. They aren't doing anything illegal. This is just part of the business and part of what a lot of companies do when they're competing with one another. So I don't know why people are running with this narrative that, oh, this is this is Sony just being dishonest, the shady practices, Microsoft doesn't do this. No, Microsoft in fact has done this. They have paid for content exclusivity. They had parity clauses on their platforms. I mean, that came out during the Xbox One generation, and people went after Phil Spencer. Oh my God, Phil demands parity for the console, blah blah blah. I mean, this is just how companies compete. And there's nothing egregious going on here. Sony isn't positioning themselves to be a monopoly in the gaming space. They aren't hurting consumers or anything like that. Microsoft is very much able to play in the game space still, despite whatever deals Sony's making. But this isn't. I'm not surprised to see Sony say this. I think we talked about this last week, where this is companies kind of politicking over a merger acquisition. If for those who don't remember, Microsoft basically told the New Zealand regulatory agency that, hey, you know what, COD's really not that big of a deal. I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what they said. So, I mean, no one should be surprised that Microsoft is saying this. This is a big nothing burger, by the way.
It really is.
And I want to throw that out there. I see a lot of people doing the mental gymnastics, saying and coming out with these weird narratives, and they're running wild with this like Hulkamania. No, this is a nothing burger. This is part of the process. companies, will do things and say things to, protect themselves. So,
Yeah.
Again, no one should be. I think what's happening is that we're seeing kind of what happens behind the scenes when these things happen, and unfortunately, we're getting takes from people who really don't understand the process. So that's all I have to say about that. Just stop with the bad takes. That's all I ask for. That's all I ask for. That's all I ask for. Stop with the bad takes. Use some common sense.
Yeah, it's just like you say. It's a rebuttal from Microsoft. A week or two ago, you were just talking about it, BRAP, when and again, I don't have the other article in front of me, so I'm paraphrasing here. But when Sony came out in that Brazilian piece, right, that Brazilian press piece, and they were saying that basically, in their opinion, Call of Duty is a global brand, and having that IP under their services, and having full ownership and rights to do with it how they deem worthy, may present an unfair advantage. Now, I'm not telling you guys in the audience or you guys on the panel that I think that's right or wrong. I mean, I think you can make a case. You can make a case to say that it is definitely something. It's a very influential IP. So everyone knows that if it wasn't, we wouldn't be talking about it. It wouldn't be getting this many clicks going around the world. This is Microsoft coming back and saying, well, so they're saying Call of Duty's a big deal. Well, Microsoft, we're saying here that Sony has blocked deals to keep exclusive content off of our service. So see, we're doing this on our end, which it may seem to look this way, but they do this on their end, and it may seem to do that way. So it's perception. Again, it is a nothing burger, because when you take the two, you splash them together, you got nothing at the end. It's just the two teams kind of going back and forth. I will say this much. Finally, I think, you remember the days when Phil and Sean and Reggie would come on stage and they all held hands, and it was like they were at the Olympics and everybody held their hands up and they're like, United! Well, that's over. And, listen, we knew that was fake then. It's fake. These companies definitely, I don't think they like each other. I think they're, which, by the way, they're competitive. I don't think they hate each other, but I think it's a competitive nature out there, which is good for all of us, the gamers. They're doing their due diligence to keep our hard-earned dollars flying into them. So, yeah, I think the kumbaya's over. The candles have all been blown out. There's definitely a couple of shots going over the bow. But, again, it really, BRAP, it's business, right? It's business. So I wouldn't make much of this at all. The things that Microsoft's claiming in this report are things that Microsoft did in the 360 era, right? They kept BioShock off the PlayStation. They kept Mass Effect off the PlayStation. These tactics of having exclusivity and restricting and having some content first, having some content never show up on the other console at all. This isn't something that just started this generation. So I think, like you say, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I just found it interesting because it's the first time we're starting to see Sony Corp and Microsoft Corp stop the BS with the kumbaya bullshit we always knew was fake. These companies are competing. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And for once, I'm actually happy to see that. I'm happy to see that.
And I think one thing Jeff Grubb actually commented on this. One of his comments kind of resonate with me when he says these companies are just trading specific favors for cash in an attempt to position themselves as best as possible. I mean, that's kind of exactly kind of what's happening here. And so, again, I just don't understand why people are kind of, running around with their mouths open, like shocked that this is happening. That Sony's doing this because this has been happening for quite some time, and it's a part of doing business. And these companies, like Jeff said, are trying to position themselves as best as possible. Let me, before I get to the panel, let me just grab these super chats real quick. Oh shoot, I think I may have missed one. Hold on. Here we go. The Game Night 123 with the $5 super chat says, I saw one guy say in response to this news, and this is why I stay the F away from PlayStation. I really do fear for humanity at times. The Ruham with the $5 super chat, thank you, sir, says, hey guys, what's funny is Hogue Law explains this perfectly on YouTube on virtual legality, but no one talks about it. Yeah, Hogue actually has some, I got to check out that video. I haven't checked out that specific video he put out, but Hogue does have some great insight into mergers, acquisitions, and things like that, given the work that he does. But I do want to kick it over to the panel here. What do you guys thought? What are your guys' thoughts on this? And actually, let me rope you in first, Game Logic. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Same as yours, right? I said before, like, people make the proclamations that, like, Microsoft is the good guys, Sony's the bad guys, Sony's the good guys, Microsoft's the bad guys. Like, look, if a regulatory commission, right, asks you for an RFI for a competitive matter, you're not going to say, oh, yeah, no problem, it's not a big deal. You're not going to put something at the feet of your competitor that's beneficial to them. That should just be common sense. You shouldn't need a degree to figure that out. But right, what we get on Twitter is we get a lot of takes that are driven around probably generating traffic and clicks and
Twitter,
views, etc.
Not just Twitter, but YouTube. I mean, like I saw the YouTube channels running with Sony scared. They're scared they're going to lose COD. Microsoft's going to take away COD. Sony's scared. I'm like, I don't understand how people are arriving to these conclusions, because that's not really what's happening. But I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
Well, and this is my thing, right? Like you said, right? A lot of the cases have been, this is representative of Sony being in fear. And I'm like, there seems to be this theme that, like, Sony is running around the boardroom like chickens with their head cut off, quaking in their boots, unable to sleep at night. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, that's just not how business works. That's not how corporate boardroom decisions work, right? Things are, as I mentioned on the rant, right? Things are quantified, things are dealt with. There's an army of lawyers, right, giddied up for this thing. We're even talking about these RFIs, right? These are very large legal departments, in addition to outsourced legal assistants who carefully crafted these RFI responses, right, to influence the regulatory commissions to do what they want to do. To do what Sony wants them to do, and for Microsoft to do what they want to do, right? The other thing is, there's some behavior that, like, the Brazilian thing that's going on is like the be all end all, or the only game in town, right? Great Scott, it's Brazil, right? I mean, so it's one market, right? It's not the largest market by any means. The other thing that's at play here is that, in terms of this not being the only game in town, remember that Microsoft's scrutiny extends or puts them at much more significant risk than Sony, right? The topple over point for this is that while Microsoft is going down this path of the Activision Blizzard acquisition, right, Google and Amazon and Facebook continue to be hashed and called back to Capitol Hill, right, to constantly go over anti-competitive, antitrust behavior, right? Microsoft has sidestepped that for the time being, but they are constantly under scrutiny. And while the Activision Blizzard thing is going on, it's not the only game in town that's a risk play for Microsoft, right? They've been called up by the EU for leveraging their sales in commercial enterprise products, right, to elbow their way into the cloud services market, right, using anti-competitive practices. Again, that's not necessarily proof, but that's pressure. So again, what you should be expecting to happen is for Microsoft to say things that are not beneficial to Sony, and for Sony to say things that aren't beneficial to Microsoft, and for us not to make some ridiculously big deal about it.
Yeah, no, that's well said, Logic. I mean, I agree, and I'm seeing that people are arguing about this in the live chat. It's kind of interesting. But Forte, Slobo, do you guys have any thoughts on this, man, or guys?
Go ahead, Forte.
Slobo's like,
I really don't care at this point. I just think in general, Jesus. For me, honestly, I really don't care. Honestly, it's. I couldn't even tell you. I'm still trying to formulate. I was listening to what Game Logic was saying. And I'm trying to like really formulate exactly how.
I mean, this is well. I think that Gamer Logic actually he put things into context pretty well there. I mean, shout out to Eric B. And this is something that me and Slow-Mo were just tweeting about. And it's better to talk to an individual than to tweet or text, because sometimes words are translated and it's just misinterpreted. But Eric B. actually said something here that I was saying to Slow-Mo before the show on Twitter. Eric says, Microsoft already said Call of Duty would be multi-platform, but it would still be on Game Pass. That's what Sony is worried about. So this is what I was trying to say earlier. I said the point of Sony making the in air quotes unfair comments that came out of the Brazilian press and the things that you may be seeing that are you may see coming out down the pipe, or things that are going on in trials that we're not aware of with the FTC for unfair practices, or just an unfair playing ground. That's the FTC is deciding that as well, as far as the IPs go in the Activision merger. It's not just one IP; it's the whole merger of Activision Blizzard with Microsoft. And the one thing I think is Sony's well aware. Microsoft has come out multiple times now, and Microsoft has said that Call of Duty will be multi-plat. And let's be honest, that's the one thing that BRAP was saying that I agree. I play Warzone, like, still to this day. I probably put in, on a bad week, 5-6 hours, on a good week 10 to 12. I love Warzone. I still play Call of Duty Vanguard. I played, 4 or 5 hours last week, something like that. Maybe it was 2 hours. I don't know. Don't quote me, but it was definitely. You saw the footage we had on Crossfire the week before last. And my point being is that this is a game. This is a big deal type of game, and I think when it comes down to it, Sony doesn't want this game on Game Pass day and date. Now, does that mean if Microsoft gets Activision Blizzard, that all the other Call of Duties can't go on Game Pass, like all the Modern Warfare, the original ones, blah blah blah, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2? No, that can all go there day one. I think Sony is a bit, I wouldn't use the word concerned, but they're fighting right now to say, listen, this is something that shouldn't be on a service. It gives them a leg up. Now, you could say, Mooch, it's going to be there. That's fine. I'm not saying it's not going to be there. I'm saying this is the one thing they don't. Listen, right now is the time for Sony to make a case to say they feel it should or shouldn't be on Game Pass. If they don't say anything now, well, you can't say it afterwards once it's on there.
But that just sounds super ironic, because I've never heard of a scenario where somebody owns. I mean, we're talking that this is basically talking if they owned it already. That's crazy, because if you own something, you should be able to do with it as you please. It's supposed to be a competitive advantage.
That is correct. However, usually when you own something, Forte, you go and you buy it and you own it. In this case, Microsoft is trying to acquire it, but it's going through a process. Part of this process is people putting in these claims or these issues or these problems that they see down the road of how there's an unfair advantage. Now, I'm not saying there is one.
They're not taking the game away from. Okay,
listen,
so
no. I mean, it still presents. This is a large, globally recognized IP, Forte. Yeah. This isn't Mooch and Crap's Adventures. Okay, this is a big game. So
coming to Mooch Pass, by the way.
I do want to play Mooch and Crap's Adventures, though.
Me and Crap been working on it for about 5 years. It's in development hell.
You got a crunch.
Here you got Kip 901. What the hell is Mooch talking about? Kip, put the speakers up. What I'm saying is basically I'm explaining to you where I think they're coming from. They're saying that this is what could cause an issue. Listen, the FTC and the people that are deliberating this might all say, you know what? Who gives a shit? It's Microsoft's. Put it wherever you want, right? Put it on Game Pass.
But what
That's
issue
fine.
would this cause? Like, I would like Sony to, like,
it's an imbalancing of taking one of the largest IPs that sells in the top 1 or 2 every year for the past 20 years, and now you're putting it on a streaming service that seemingly could tip the scales.
But that's what it's supposed to do.
That's exactly why they're acquiring them.
Okay, so why is there even an FTC investigation then, guys? They should just buy it, right? Done.
Well, no, because it's a
billions of
dollars.
Why is there any investigation
going on?
The investigation
isn't about Game Pass. The investigation
It's not about Game Pass. It's about an unfair advantage.
That's not an unfair advantage.
That's not a unfair advantage.
Well, you say it's not.
It's not.
Listen, that's fine. Forte and Slow-Mo versus Sony. I can't wait for that new Matlock episode.
Oh,
listen,
my God.
That's fine.
It wouldn't even be that. It wouldn't even be that, because Sony knows it's not an unfair advantage.
They know it's not.
They're just posturing for this.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll buy that. They're posturing in order to create an argument that maybe some commission will say no deal.
Yes. Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
Posturing.
They're just. This is the time. That's fine.
I don't think you guys. I don't think you guys are disagreeing. By the way, I think you guys agree.
No, we're not. I'm not disagreeing.
Differently.
I'm saying this is the time for you to posture. They're posturing.
Okay.
They can't do it afterwards. Right after it's done and they own it and there's no issue, Well, you can't posture.
Okay, so
after.
let me ask you this. So
Right?
I
I mean, come
agree.
on.
I think they would be stupid.
I
not
agree with
to,
Slow-Mo.
like,
What he just said was
I think they would be
bulleted. He's
stupid
spot
not
on.
to say something, but it's like the way that it was written, the way that they the
You-
posturing was
Forte,
real strong.
Forte, have you ever
in
heard
that
back when
argument.
we,
But
remember we
that's
were
but
younger?
Forte, but that's
Remember
what
we were
the
younger,
that's
they're
what
like,
these
speak now or forever hold your
That's
peace.
so crazy.
but Forte,
That's all it is.
but that's
Listen,
but see,
it's
I
all,
think
you could say it's nothing. That's fine. I'm not
No,
arguing
but
with
you know, but no, I don't have a problem. See, this is the thing. I don't have a problem with Sony coming out because, like, even when I was talking about it, it was never about Sony. I just said, oh, the ironic, how ironic it is for a company that did all of these different timed exclusive stuff, and we still don't see stuff to this day
Right.
on the platform talking about this. That's all I said about it. I said, but you know, and I even said in that tweet, I said, I understand that they're doing this because this is their last gasp and chance to actually get it. But this is the thing. People outside of that made it seem like, oh, the it's anti-consumer. It's a competitive advantage. I'm like, wait a minute. It's always supposed to be a competitive advantage.
Listen,
I've never had an issue with Sony saying that because Sony is the one that's fighting against it.
So
that's
listen,
perfectly fine.
Shout out to but BRAP, or Forte, you're right. But shout out to Vice Roy, who's a huge Game Pass. He's a big Xbox guy. He goes, I think it's more than posturing. He goes, the Game Pass model is a threat to the traditional way games are sold.
But
So
Sony,
there you go.
but
Hence-
aren't they the same ones that said that Game Pass isn't sustainable, that it's not going to do this? They're the ones that's over there saying, "Well, it's not going to work."
So this is the thing, right? This is right. It's what's going on, what's in chat, and what we're doing here. We are devolving into strident disagreement over this because we are taking things at face value and taking them literally, right? Like Slow-Mo said, it's posturing. There's a bit of a hint of truth to every single thing that was listed in the Sony thing. But again, is it a thing that's making somebody break out in a cold sweat when they come to work every morning? No, right? These are the things that happen in business. The other thing is, there's a lot of behavior around this, like this is unprecedented. It's not. This is the exact same thing that happened in the Epic Apple lawsuit, in the Epic Google lawsuit. It's the exact same posturing that happened in the Apple Samsung lawsuit. There were all types of what we would observe as kind of wild conjectures about the level and degree of threat that the behavior of the other competitor posed to the other company, right? But these people aren't coming into work every day thinking that they're going out of business. Right? I'm sure that they've like game theoried and tabletopped, right, worst case scenarios, but I don't believe that they literally are living and dying on the belief that the worst case scenario is going to happen. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make the best case outcome come out for them and for their competitive desires, and for, quite frankly, making the most money that they possibly can.
And what is the best case? Exactly. And so the biggest thing is.
Well, let me add that because I'm sorry, I got excited and forgot to. One of the things
Who's yelling now?
One of the things that doesn't get discussed, and this is a big problem on Twitter, right? And this is a big thing where I talk about people only paying attention to games, right? Pay attention to other stuff.
Yep.
One of the things that Sony can be posturing for, right, is that it's not just a binary. It's not a 0 or 1. It's not a let the acquisition happen, let the acquisition not happen. Let's remember that the FTC, right, can strongly recommend that the deal be restructured, as well as other regulatory commissions.
Yeah, and that's what
they can say break up Activision and Blizzard.
Yes.
You can buy Activision, but you can't buy Blizzard. You got to spin this off. You got to spin that off. You can't take this property. You can't take that one.
That's why people are sitting there. They're like, "Look, that's the whole intent of making the buy." No
that's
shit.
What by the way, that's,
I get that.
That's what happened.
But Game Logic makes the point. This is the time to make your case. And Gregory Von Doom says Game Pass being sustainable isn't the argument. It's that Microsoft can shove everything into Game Pass while losing money to pull the balance in their favor simply because they can afford it. And that's part of what all of this comes down to, along with what Gamer Logic's saying. This is an attempt right now to where the deal that is currently written down in black and white could change. Will it change? I don't know. No one knows on the panel. But could it change? Now's the time to make the case. And they're making a case. You want to call it posturing, you want to put whatever label you want on it. But this is the time to do it. It's speak now or forever hold your peace. So when you see them going back and forth, this is what I'm saying. That's why they're doing this. This could all be for naught, as I believe Forte was saying. Absolutely. But at the same time, I don't blame Sony for at their time right now when they say it's your time to come up, Sony, make your case. They're making their case right now. of why they believe that this probably would be an imbalancing act in the gaming industry. We could all say that's bullshit. That's fine. It's bullshit, fine. But what I'm saying is now's the time for them to make their case, and I don't blame them for doing it. That's all I would say.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that, and I, like Slobo said it, I think most of us in this panel, this is posturing, and I think to your point too, Game Logic, like this isn't new, and I think perhaps because, like you said, Game Logic people only pay attention to gaming. This has happened with other things. You mentioned, I think, the Apple Google lawsuit, I think it was, and I forget what else you mentioned. But these are things that happen in business more often than probably people realize in the gaming space. And here, at least in the gaming space, we're kind of getting the curtain pulled down to kind of see what's happening behind the scenes. And again, I think that people are kind of running wild thinking that this is kind of something new, and that this happens. This isn't new. This is what companies do. And I think that to Mooch's point, to I think what you said too, what the panel said is, this is the time where they're going to provide their input, because this is the time to do so, because it's being asked by the regulatory agencies for their thoughts on this merger. And again, who knows? I mean, maybe this thing gets broken up. There's some precedent with mergers where that's happened. Right. It's happened more recently with the, or maybe not. It's happened when Disney acquired Fox. I mean, Disney couldn't acquire all of Fox. That Fox News, and they had they couldn't get Fox Sports. They had to spin off certain parts of Fox.
Well, Disney didn't want Fox News.
They didn't want Fox News. Okay, but I think they had to spin off, I think, Fox Sports though. There were some concessions there, I think, for the acquisition to go through.
ESPN, right? Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. Things have to change, and that's why they're going through these proceedings. That's why it wasn't brought up and went to the panel and it was decided in 24 hours. It's still going on. Everyone said it would have been done. It'll be done in about 15 minutes. Not quite. So there's still, and who knows? I mean, there's the writing, the wording, the way that it's presented, the way that it's gonna maybe. And again, guys, I'm just throwing this out there, right? Maybe everything stays the way it is, but they say it can enter all the current or today back Call of Duty's all going to Game Pass right away the day they acquire them. But from every new game forward, it's 12 months. I don't know. Listen, Microsoft's still making all that money on this game. You know what I mean? Every time you buy the game on PlayStation, they make money. Every time you buy the game on Xbox, they make money. And then a year from now, that goes into the system. Listen, I'm making that completely up. By the way, it makes sense, though. If Call of Duties are going to go 2-3 years apart, well, Microsoft, why wouldn't they want to make $70 on Call of Duty and then a year later throw it in the Game Pass, right? Make that 70 up front and then throw it in the Game Pass. They might even be willing to do that. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of things that can happen here. Will any of that happen? Maybe not. But, I mean, it's interesting, and you really can't blame anybody for trying their best to do what they can against a competing brand. And that's all it really is. And Microsoft's throwing their jabs back as well. So I think when it comes down to it, again, I hate to say it, the last two topics we're going to wait and see. But it's great discussion. I just don't like when people are like, what do you mean? That's what you buy something for, so you can own it. Well, yeah, we got that. Thanks for the elementary lesson there. We're kind of taking it and we're peeling the onion back a bit here, because there is more to it. If it was that simple, the FTC would have been like, hey, they want to buy it, Jimmy. Well, let them buy it. All right, case closed. Let's go to lunch. Lunch is on Phil, right? So, they're not doing that. There's more to it. There's a lot going on here. There's a bunch of different things that aren't even making headlines with the great Tom Warren. So I mean, there's other things happening that we're not even reading about that us podcasters can't get our hands on to look at these documents, and rightfully so. They're not necessarily within our range, but nonetheless, I think that everybody made a good point here. It's just we got to wait and see what happens. But I really can't blame Sony for doing what they're doing. They're trying their best to keep things as even as they want it to be, even though Microsoft's like, no, screw that, I'm buying this shit. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Really will.
Yeah, one of the things I dropped in the chat, which might be interesting for people to just go take a look at. Again, I think a lot of people kind of get this, but just in case you haven't been exposed. So I dropped in the Justice Department's ruling on the Comcast-NBC merger, right? And you can see in that, right, how based on recommendations of the FTC, that deal was restructured, right? Because they allowed it to go through, but conditionally, right? With agreements that had to be made on how licensing was going to happen, agreements that had to be made on how programming was going to be handled to give other competitors access to that programming, things like that. And so it is absolutely possible that one of the rulings that could come out of this by the time it gets to the United States is that COD not only has to say multi-platform, but it can't go into Game Pass, right? That could be a decision that winds up being made.
Yeah.
So, one of the comments in chat, from Eric the Red is, his feeling that I honestly don't think these regulars care about video games. It'll go through. I think the disagreement I would have is it's not a matter of the content, right? I don't care if it's gas or pigs or cars or whatever. The point is that it is a matter of the competitive landscape right here in America. You're seeing it go on around the country. And again, as I keep pointing out, right, you also have the topic of the FTC chair, Lena Khan, who is the youngest sitting chairman of the FTC, who is the most tech savvy chair of the FTC that's ever sat the post, and has a very hard line approach, right, to big tech. And Microsoft is big tech. That's going to put them in the radar. And so whether it goes through or not, they're going to get hashed and raked over the coals and poked in the eye, and every in and out nook and cranny of this deal is going to be examined. It's not going to get just a free pass.
The other thing too is I think when it comes down to it, Logic, by the way, well said. I think when it comes down to it, it's just Microsoft. You look at this deal, which again we're looking at top level. Microsoft cares about the COD IP. But that's not the bread and butter they want to take home out of this deal.
It's mobile,
right? It's the mobile, and it's just everyone is just fighting over COD, and I get it. I get it for the podcast. I get it, and for Twitter and everything else. But realistically, Microsoft might be more than willing. They're like, listen, if we put COD, if we put the Call of Duty games a year after they come out in there, would that make everybody happy and shut up? Yeah, that makes everybody happy. Done. Where do I sign, by the way? They want everything else.
Real quick. They do want everything else, but also we cannot forget the fact that Game Pass is their platform. It's not Xbox. It's not a console. It's the foundation of everything they do now is Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Even with King, the foundation of that will eventually be somehow, some way, getting that into Game Pass. If you are going to be spending that much money, and part of the reason why you spent that much money is because COD makes that much money, but you can't get the best benefit out of that for Game Pass, they probably wouldn't want to do the deal at that point.
I don't think COD reverts this deal at all. If that was, I just don't think so. There's so much more money to make. There's so much more money to make.
You can't get COD in there after marketing deals into Game Pass at launch. Am I still going to do the deal? Probably not. Maybe that's just me. But like,
no, I can understand where you're coming from, Slow-Mo.
You enter into the agreement with the understanding that you could take all that IP and put it into Game Pass, which way you want to.
Well, let me ask you.
That changes how you feel about it. It changes how much money you spent on this.
I mean, don't get me wrong. That when you put it that way, Slow-Mo, that's the top level response, and it's a good response, and it's got shields on it, so it's hard to penetrate. But the point of the matter is that there are negotiations going on, and they're not just. I would think that is a topic. I understand where you're coming from, but again, if you're going to be making billions of dollars from the other parts of this deal, plus you're making 70% on your competitor's platform every time somebody buys it, and then you're making 70% or you're making 100% when they buy it on your platform.
They don't even care about their own platform.
They don't care about game sales like that.
Well,
they don't care as much about game sales as the rest of the platforms do.
Okay, that's fine. But then all the Xbox players will get the betas first. They'll get maybe the map packs first. They'll get all these other benefits first, and maybe that's something you need to be in Game Pass for. I don't know. There's other ways that they can do it and still make money. I don't know. Who knows? This might not even be something that's holding up the negotiations. This may not even be on the table. This is just something that we've all kind of stirred. Like I think it was Fortes, and we stirred it all up on Twitter. It's fine. Maybe that's not. We'd have no idea. But Slow-Mo, you're not wrong. Again, you're not wrong. That makes perfect sense. If I was buying it, of course, I would want that. That's part of the reason. That's not the only reason. It's part of the reason. Because don't forget, Diablo's going into the Game Pass, right? Overwatch is going into Game Pass. All the other games they got is going into Game Pass. So they're going to get all of those, and they're going to get King. And King, yes, and all that mobile is going to be linked into the cloud and Game Pass Ultimate and all that other good stuff, right? So that's all in there. So to say that you got one little tiny part that bothers the competitors and it's causing a hang-up in the courts, would you sign for that? Maybe you would. I'm not saying you would. I said maybe.
If it
maybe
was
you
that
would.
tiny, it wouldn't even be this big of an issue.
Yeah,
That's
true.
that, and there you go. It's
Because
not,
it's
that,
not
tiny.
that tiny.
It's
And
not that tiny.
I think
it's
anybody,
not that tiny to Microsoft, and it's not that tiny to Sony.
And you know, I disagree with the sentiment that the people that they're speaking to in these commissions are so dumb to gaming that they don't understand any of this shit either. Like it's not like us 5 people on the panel
Right.
are like expert analysts on the gaming industry. We know a lot about the gaming. We don't know.
No,
But
Slow-mo,
like,
you're right.
all that
Yeah.
stuff, all this stuff that these people are saying, like if Sony is the only dissenting opinion in the Brazilian commission is gonna be like, well, why is Sony feeling this way? Let's investigate this further. Oh, let's look at the counterclaim that Microsoft says. Let's
Right.
investigate that further. Let's get some
Absolutely.
data to back this stuff up. Let's look
100%.
at the data.
Yes.
Okay.
And then they'll make a conscious decision.
And then they'll make their decision.
Right,
Like it's
that's
just it's I think there's very little to talk about right now.
And there's very little to talk about right
and
now.
so this is why we're talking about this. But this is honestly.
But
it's
what's
just,
funny though, Slow-mo,
whatever.
is there's others that are talking about it like in the other sense. We're like, it's case closed.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
case
exactly.
closed.
It's
Microsoft's got it. Case closed. Game Pass day one. Everything day one. Wrap up the show. You know, and I'm like, well, wait a minute.
And
If
then
you could say that's
there's
fine, by
also-
the way. That's
and
fine.
there's also the people who are like, see, this is what we've been saying. It's unfair that they have COD
Right,
now, and it's
right.
just like,
So,
what?
And that's
Th-
fine. Again,
Was it unfair when you had Final Fantasy VII Remake forever? Huh? Was it unfair? What about Final Fantasy 16? Was it unfair for all the time exclusives that you guys?
I think
that
if you
Sony's been getting?
if you grouped all the Final Fantasies and put a bow on it, it doesn't equal like one
Doesn't
Modern
matter.
Warfare
Still.
2.
But
So,
then
it
the
doesn't
amount of
really-
sales doesn't
that's-
matter. It's about the fact that like it's about
Certainly does to Sony.
it can matter to Sony, but for everyone else, like
Well, that's the thing, though.
doesn't matter,
And
you know?
that's who's AKA posturing. That's who's doing. That's where you're seeing this. It's from the people who care. You know, Microsoft doesn't. You said Microsoft doesn't care about game sales. That's fine, but Sony certainly does. So I mean, you know, because those game sales related into console sales, and
Yeah.
Sony cares about that. Microsoft
So-
also doesn't care about console sales. So you see, this is why you could say, well, Microsoft doesn't care. That's fine, but the others do, and hence where you're getting this, you know, this other side of the coin, this other argument, and both are valid.
And,
Yes.
and just to put a refinement on the discussion, right? Just so we're reminded, right? Last quarter, Activision Blizzard, $831 million from mobile, $376 million from console sales, $332 million from PC. So more than 50%,
Right.
and greater than console and PC combined was made from mobile.
Going back to what I said, Microsoft wants that.
Well,
They want more of the.
I-
They want more of the other than just the COD. COD's a part of this that they care about. But they want that King deal.
I kind of argued that when the Microsoft acquired Activision, that it was the bigger play was globally in that mobile market.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Getting into markets where
Absolutely.
where Microsoft has had trouble.
They've had trouble. Yeah.
Asia, Southeast Asia.
Look at Apple. We all laugh at Apple. Apple's little arcade on the phone is freaking printing cash. It's making gold coins.
It's huge. Yeah, people. Yeah, it's huge. But yeah, no, that's that. I always argue that was kind of the big play for Microsoft, more so than COD, because getting that mobile would allow them to penetrate markets where they just haven't been able to penetrate.
Yeah,
And-
globally on a geographic level as well as a market level, and being in mobile, period, it does penetrate that. Yeah, absolutely. This deal probably would not have happened if it was just Activision Blizzard and not King involved in it. It's especially not at the level of the amount of
Not
money
that
they
money.
spent on it, right? But it's not a black and white issue. It's now, but all
Right.
they care about is mobile, so they don't give a shit what happens with cars.
No, it's not
No.
that.
They do
No.
care, but
Like,
I
but
think,
there's
like this
definitely-
mentality that, like,
But-
Sony can influence whatever they want to influence.
Yeah, but it's like
because
when you buy a house, though, Slow-Mo, right? You care about the school district, right? You care about the curb appeal. You care if the roof is still good, right? But then when someone says, but Slow-Mo, you're going to have to redo your driveway in a couple years, you're like, that's further down the list. But it matters, but it's a little further down the list. Like, you know what I'm trying to say to you? Like, your roof matters, the school district matters, the curb appeal matters, the plumbing matters, the electric matters. Then there's a couple other things that do matter, but they're further down. That's all I'm saying. In this purchase, okay, you just heard the breakdown from Game Logic. 830 million, almost at $1 billion in mobile to well under $500 million in console. I mean, clearly, one is the difference between a roof issue on a new house and a driveway issue. Okay,
That's not
And
a
that's-
driveway issue. That's not up to the
well, whatever
level
you
of
want to call it.
driveway
That's
issue.
fine, but it's
the
definitely a
lion's
lot less than the
share-
roof.
The lion's
It's a lot less than the
share
roof.
of that 300 plus K million in console is
Okay,
COD.
all right, I'll give you a better example. It's a King is the structural and COD is the roof. Okay? So COD matters still, but God, if you're on a bad foundation, God bless you. Okay?
Yeah,
So what you want to have
absolutely.
is that's what I'm trying to say to you. King's the foundation of this deal.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
I
I'm not
agree
making-
with that 1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not making light on it. I mean, $300-something million on consoles, still a nice chunk of cheddar cheese. But I'm just trying to say to you, like, if they had to make a negotiation, that's where the negotiation would occur because they want that King deal. And that's the way I see it. Everything I'm reading from all the people that are doing the shows and the people in the law that are writing they're doing their own podcast now. They're doing this, that. That's what they're saying is the King deal is a big deal. Not that COD's not, Slow-Mo. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, that's a negotiating piece.
I also kind of feel like Microsoft's counterpoint could be like, look, we said we ain't taking it off your platform. We gave you enough. Because we ain't even have to do that.
That could very well be what they're
saying. We're
saying.
not giving anymore. It's going in the Game Pass when this marketing deal is up, and that's the end, the long and short of it. If you're a impartial party looking at this, and they're like, oh, they didn't even have to do that. They're still going to put the game on the platform.
Right.
Now you want them to not even put it in their subscription
They
service.
dictate too much for me.
Like you
They were
can't,
trying to
yeah, like
dictate too much.
that might be a bridge too far, sir. So it's just like.
And they might turn around and
maybe
show a
even-
chart of 20
you
years
know-
of
you know how-
sales and be like,
hold
they're
on,
taking
hold-
that game from us. That one
hold
that
on. You know how, like-
skyrocketed for 20 years.
Mooch, hold on. You know how like in negotiations, right? You ask for more than what you really want,
Absolutely.
or you don't even want things.
You asked for it anyway.
You ask for it anyway, so that later on you can take it off the table.
Or
Or, all right, I won't. We don't need this anymore if you don't do X, right?
Right.
Or you go ahead and concede something right away, so that what you really care for you can protect.
Mhm.
Like it's all a negotiation. Very
Yeah.
like Phil Spencer was very quick to give up COD not being a console exclusive to
Well,
Xbox.
hold
forever.
on, hold on before you make Phil Spencer, Chris Kringle. Take it easy there for a second.
Well, I'm
Xbox
not
and
doing that
Microsoft already
whatsoever.
Xbox and Microsoft already came out and said, right? And I have the article here somewhere that in order for COD to survive, it can't be an exclusive. And that was by Andrew something or another that wrote the article today.
So after the fact,
No, you cannot say COD would survive
whatever
only
you
on
want to
Xbox.
justify the decisions that you make. But what I'm saying is that they give that up immediately in order to make sure that what you really care for
Mhm.
is protected.
Microsoft says
Phil
No,
Spencer
but
is a businessman. He's a businessman like everyone
you said
else.
Phil Spencer already deemed worthy. Listen, right here, Andy Robinson, give him credit. He said, this is his article on VGC.news. Microsoft has claimed, in quotes, would simply not be profitable, end quote, to make Call of Duty an Xbox exclusive. Again, insisting the series will remain on PlayStation. So, I mean, just like Minecraft, just like everything else, this is going to be a moneymaker for them. So again, this is a negotiable piece for them in their in their back and forth at the table tonight at the FTC or whatever they're doing with their bargaining. It's a piece that they'll move on. I bet you if somebody said, "Hey, we want half of King," or "You can't do this with King," Microsoft would be like,
No,
"Shut the hell
it's
up!"
not happening.
Yeah, shut the hell up. We ain't doing anything.
If they, but I feel like any parts of this where they say you can't do, like for the big parts of it, if they told them, hey, look, you can't make Overwatch exclusive. All right, well, damn shit, we ain't gotta make Overwatch exclusive. Who gives a fuck about Overwatch, right? But COD ain't Overwatch, right? Neither is King. Any of those big pieces of this deal, they had like. When it comes to your platform, what you deem important, what you spent your money for, and what you look at in the future you can do with this to build out, because that COD for Game Pass, that's the kind of piece that can help elevate it go further. I'm not going as far as that one, what's the guy's name that said 100 million subscribers? That's not happening. But that's the kind of IP that you need to push it to the next level, where people are just, I'm getting that subscription because they be giving us all kinds of bonuses and whatnot, and it's coming there on launch. I ain't got to spend $70 on the game. Great, right? That's the kind of piece it is. Is it King? Absolutely not.
No,
but that doesn't mean just because it's not King that, hey, whatever Sony wants, we'll just so they shut up. No. Look, it's a negotiation.
It's negotiation, and don't get me wrong, Slomo, again, I like how you're coming with the other side of the coin here. I think you're right. But like you said, it is a negotiation, and I do think Call of Duty, believe it or not, if in fact that's what Sony's making this case about, it's still a negotiable piece that at least they'll come to the table and talk about. When it comes to King, absolutely. The other pieces are not. That's off the table. So I think that when it comes down to it, that's a piece they could. What they do, I can't wait to find out. I really can't wait to. I do think something will happen that's that's not expected. I just don't know if it's going to be something big or something really minute and not a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it'll be something, but it could be very small, and we go, that's literally nothing. It's something, but it's nothing. So I don't know if it's going to be something big or something so small, but I do think it'll be something in the verbiage will change that we know that we don't know now. That is in the writing that still will have a difference maker when the FTC and this whole case is closed, because they're gonna get the company. The question is just how much of the original print is gonna remain at the end of this trial.
Yeah. Well, look, gentlemen.
I just want to add one other drumbeat we gotta probably keep an eye on and look out for is one of the things has also been that Activision Blizzard has signaled that it is considering moving COD to a continuous delivery living game, right? And no longer being wrapped around the axle about annual releases. And so this could be something that moves kind of more in the direction of, say, a Destiny 2 in conjunction with like continuing battle passes or some other type of business model. It may no longer be an argument of $70 per game, right, further down the line. So that may also be in the mix.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. I forgot that they were actually looking at maybe not doing it like an annual release, but kind of a live service type thing.
They were discussing a lot of different changes to COD, but even Activision itself, before the acquisition, they were already discussing potentially not even doing an annual release, but kind of maybe pushing back on that in order to increase the quality of each release that was coming out annually at that point. I think anything that happens with that is probably completely independent of this acquisition and more just about what Activision thinks is best for the IP itself.
Yes.
No, I agree. But what I'm saying is, again, if that's a maneuver you're planning on making down the line, that may inform exactly the way that they negotiate at the table right now.
Very true. Very true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, look, gentlemen, it is past 11 o'clock. Booch, we kept you here longer than I think.
It was a good discussion.
Yeah,
I told BRAP originally I was going to have to leave at 10:30 because I get up early tomorrow. But I was like, well, as long as last time I was on BRAP, it went 3 hours. So as long as we don't go 3 hours, BRAP, we're good.
No.
Slow-mo knows that all too well.
That laugh's so evil, man.
I love Slow-mo.
He does that.
Slow-mo's got the best laugh on YouTube, period.
He does. He does that when we play
Love
Fortnite.
it.
He'll do it.
It makes me laugh. It's awesome. The best.
So. But no, Mooch, look, man, thank you for coming on again, man. Always a
thanks
pleasure
for having me.
you on, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. And certainly look forward to Crossfire on Friday. Yeah, let everyone know where they can find you, man.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you very much. I'm going to also try and recruit Forte. Please tell me you're not working all day, Forte.
No, I'm off tomorrow.
All right.
I'll be there.
All right. Thank you very, very much.
Tomorrow?
Guys, well, Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Not
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
I just make it sure.
Yeah,
Tomorrow I'm
Slow-mo, thank you. I was
tomorrow
yeah.
I'm somewhere else.
I was gonna have to DM him after this to find out if he really meant tomorrow or Friday. I was
No,
like,
yeah,
no, please tell me it's
tomorrow I'm
Friday.
somewhere else. I'm off Friday too.
No, Brap, thank you guys. Guys, go over and check me out. I changed everything early this year, switched it back over to Mooch TV, where you drop the O's for zeros, buddy. It's Mooch TV everywhere: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Very easy to find me. But yeah, guys, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Crossfire. We got a great panel set up. I'm very excited about this week. And next week, we're actually doing something brand new. The panel and the set will look different next Friday. This week will still look the same. But yeah, a couple surprises coming at you in the next couple weeks and a couple big giveaways. So appreciate it, Brap. Thanks for having me on tonight. Great panel.
Absolutely, man. No, my pleasure. And by the way, everyone, please hit that like button if you haven't done so already.
Great chat, too, by the way. Great chat.
Thank you. Thank you. Big
Yeah,
shout
I
out to the
see
chat as well.
60 likes and like 120 people here. That's
let's hit that like.
Hit the like button, bro.
Yeah, we had about 155 people here too. So yeah, please hit that like button. But yeah, Game Logic, man. Hey, always a pleasure, sir. This is your second week as an official panel member. So thank you again, man. Always enjoy conversing with you and talking about the video games. If you want to be found, let everyone know they can find you. I think I might know the answer though, but throwing that out.
We out here. We out here.
I like that. No doubt, man. And then we got my man Slow-Mo Backslap with the best laugh in the YouTubes.
I don't know what you guys talking about. My laugh is very normal. There's nothing evil about it. It's nothing demonic or anything. It's just a typical laugh that, yeah.
Yeah. And someone I also refer to at Fortnite as Killer Cam.
I don't know about that either. I just I'm just playing Fortnite. I'm just there for the quest. Okay, I like the land in certain areas and just check out the scenery. It's very pretty game. I don't even like
very
to shoot
pretty
my gun.
game.
Yeah.
No, so you're there to ruin people's nights so they rage quit.
I mean, I did that too. Shoot people in the face, make them angry. And when they're spectating you, you dance on them. That's a little something. But no, great show as always. Mooch, always great to have you. I love a spirited debate.
Thank you, Slow-Mo. Right back. I love it. Absolutely,
feel like I'm on Crossfire, but I'm on BRAP, so it's BRAP Fire.
That's right.
BRAP Fire, oh my God.
No, Damage Per Second podcast. Tomorrow, me and Forte will be yelling at each other as usual. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel, Slow-Mo Backslap. And that's the same Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. It's all the same name, Slow-Mo Backslap. So hope you guys have a great evening. And play some games, damn it. I know most of you guys don't do that, but try it. You might like it.
No doubt, no doubt. And last but not least, Forte.
Yo, great show. Shout out to Mooch for coming through. Game Logic, I wasn't here for the first week that you were here. Shout out to you for becoming an amazing panel member. Definitely well deserved. I'm glad to have you a part of the team. For myself, Gaming Forte everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation. DPS tomorrow on Slow-Mo's channel. Twitter is not a game, people. It is not a game. It doesn't have a controller with 2 thumbsticks.
Yes. Play
Play something other than Twitter, and you will actually enjoy yourself. You actually might like yourself a little bit more. And I appreciate everybody that came to the show and hit the like button. 1%ers, have a good week. Play some games. See you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt. Please check out DPS. And tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then also Crossfire this Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be on that panel. Myself and Forte will be there as well. And Mooch is the host. And it's great because I get to go to happy hour and then show up. So
2 beer minimum. All right, Brap, or maximum. Pardon me. Beer maximum.
I'll send pictures to Mooch of me drinking a beer. I'll be like, Brap, how many is that?
He does. I start chewing Advil when he sends those, like Tic Tacs.
Oh my God.
I'm like, it's gonna be one of those shows.
Oh man. All
I
right.
appreciate the heads up. Thank you.
Yeah. No. That note, everyone, we're out. Have a great rest of the week. There will probably be a BRAP rant this weekend. I just don't know when. And but give me a follow on the Twitters at BRAP_podcast. for all the latest show updates, if you will. And yeah, have a great rest of the week. Enjoy time playing video games. Lots of video games out there to play. And if you want to get into Fortnite, you can hit up Beer Slow-Mo. You definitely want to play with Slow-Mo. He'll get you a lot of wins, and you can watch him kill a lot of people too. It's kind of fun. So on that note, we're out.
I know not what he's speaking of. I'm just there to
kill a
spectate.
can.
Like I
2
said, I
miles,
like
man.
the
2 miles.
flowers in
2
the game.
miles.
They are rendered very well.
Oh my god.